What is going on, guys? We are here with Jason again. What is going on, my man?
Yo, fist.
Yeah, dude. All right, so you are going to be technically the first guest of the new series here of what is heavy metal. So
what is it?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to hear to ask you, because I kind of asked myself that last week on the first episode, and we just want to hear other metalheads, other band members, people that are in the bands of music that we love, their answers to these questions. What does heavy metal look like to you? So first and foremost, for people that don't know who Jason is, he is the frontman of Wrath of Typhon. He has done Penntera as well, the best tribute band in Pennsylvania of Penntera. And tell us some other projects that you're in, because you know way more what you were in than me. So,
I'm working on a project with Rach, my wife, and we used to be in a band called Seraphine with Don from Gallo Glass, who is in the area as well. Okay. He's done Nine Tail and stuff like that. We wanted to go back to that, probably at the moment as a studio band, to explore more of what we kind of left behind, because it got left behind. Nobody really quit; it just kind of dissolved. And we got something cooking in the oven. Pat and Zach of Penntera are also coming along for the ride for some original, nice, symphonic, good, tasty classical metal, all over the board stuff.
Keep an eye out for that, because I will be talking about that.
We got to come up with a new name. We're not going to do the Seraphine thing no more, because since those years passed, there's characters from all sorts of places have popped up with that, and so we're gonna try to separate from that now.
Okay,
here we go back to the name thing.
And then you also, which is, I always enjoy when you bring this up, that you filled in there in Tourniquet, which we just talked about. Yeah, like, you done some shows with them.
I did a show in Mexico. It was like 7 years ago now.
Okay.
Tourniquet, the Tourniquet, pathogenic, stop the bleeding,
nice
psychosurgery Tourniquet.
That's awesome.
Which was a really amazing situation to work with one of your favorites, drummers of all time. Yeah, sorry, Dave Lombardo. But that was a good time. Yeah,
very good.
And yeah,
nice. Okay, so now that we got a little bit of background here with Jason and what he was all involved in and still involved in, what is heavy metal to you?
Energy.
Okay.
It feels, man, it's a loaded question. I'm curious what you said.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see on your,
yeah.
I feel like it's a place. Heavy metal is a thing where it's organic. There's nothing fake about it. It's balls to the walls. It's in your face. It's unapologetic. It can be gentle on you sometimes, but I think it should raise the hair on the back of your neck and make you stand up, make you get out of your seat and jump through a window. All versions of metal. Where it comes to me, I think it is, if it's from the heart, regardless where you're coming from, and it comes out of you as an energy, a wild animal, a fast car, a dragon in the sky, a dinosaur stomping on a city, a drug deal gone bad.
Oh, that's the most intense one of what you just said.
Yeah, like that's what metal feels like to me. It should be, but it also could be a saving place,
right?
A place that saves you, gets you out of the dump, get you off your feet, get you out of the doldrums. It's a loaded question.
You're right. There's room for it all.
Yeah,
in heavy metal.
Yes, it really is. It's why I think it's always been around and hasn't. Hey, waivers here and there, but it didn't just go, oh well, it's not grunge. Grunge is gone. But it's like what it is.
Certainly, and that's one of the things that I brought up too, is that heavy metal will never die.
No,
but
we sound like that movie. Heavy metal will never die.
But which
is God.
Which we will get to, that it is on life support, though, especially as a scene, which we will get to that. But we still got. So you kind of just you gave us the answer of energy as far as like what heavy metal is to you or what it means.
It's a feeling that it makes me feel like I'm on fire. Not like a
Okay.
bad fire, but like
Right.
I'm ready to take on
Desire.
desire.
Okay.
Feel the fire, feel the desire. Are we writing
That's your next.
lyrics right
That's your
now?
yeah. That's your next song. That's your next song, my man. But no, I think a lot of us agree with that. That's why we are so passionate too
Yeah.
about.
I mean,
That's why it's such a community. Why we feel the way we feel about all subgenres of heavy metal, no matter which subgenre you're in.
yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about heavy metal in general of its origins. What do you think about that? Like, where do you start? What do you think had the most impact? Yeah, kind of lead us on.
Oh my
Lead us on
gosh,
that one.
if I get real nerdy here, this could go all the way back to the 50s blues
Oh,
and,
it can go back
and,
further than
and
that.
40s,
Yeah, yeah.
all the way back to the tribal days of Africa drum beats, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go that far back because there is a National Geographic magazine.
Mhm.
It tells you the whole start of rock and roll, all the way to its earliest the days of what I was mentioning, like just tribal drum beats and stuff like that, all the way through the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, where it starts to take shape, But I think you know where I'm going to go with this answer when I say, like, I feel like for a lot of us young guys, I think Sabbath,
Yeah.
the
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
So yeah. So
I'll even
okay.
say Coven, man.
Okay.
That's another band that was early,
Right. So
for the occult.
So
people,
yeah. So here, the chicken or the egg? Is
Yeah.
it Zeppelin or Sabbath?
I don't
to
know
you?
because there could be bands before Sabbath that
Right.
was also knocking on the door, and I think I had this conversation with Bill, my guitarist in Wrath, that there are other bands that that get overlooked that definitely might have had
That didn't have that break.
more say, or than the usual Sabbath Zeppelin thing. I mean, we can argue, like, what about like bands like Cream or something like that? There might be hard enough elements in the Who,
Right. Yeah.
or whatever.
Rolling Stones.
Rolling
like
Stones.
Yeah.
Even Beatles. So there's all those pieces of the
And I
puzzle.
feel like if you talk to Glenn Danzig,
Yeah.
he'd tell you Elvis is probably heavy metal.
But then where did Elvis get his?
Right.
From the BB Kings.
Yes.
Kings,
Yeah. Albert Kings,
Albert
BB
King,
Kings,
yeah.
Robert Johnsons of
Yes.
the world,
Oh.
Lead Bellies.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And that's where I kind of took it down in my video.
Right.
And so now and that's kind of like what I was saying as far as like, yeah, sure, Zeppelin, Sabbath. And then even if we like to talk about hair metal on the channel, then we kind of have to talk a little bit about Van Halen then instead of Led Zeppelin. So you had the three-headed monster there.
Even Mott the Hoople gets some recognition, for bands like Twisted Sister, Crew,
New York Dolls,
especially in the hair market.
Yeah. The glammy stuff,
Quiet Riot even had a big impact on that.
And they were pretty early.
Yeah, they're pretty early. Yeah,
especially way before
Judas Priest in the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Keep going.
So now we got through the early blues, 50s Elvis, Little Richard.
Yeah.
Then you get through the 60s, 70s was Zeppelin, Sabbath, and such. Now we're here in the 80s. Now you're starting to see the power metal. You're starting to see the thrash metal.
Yeah.
You're starting to see very early elements of speed and death metal, black metal.
Yeah.
And a lot of hair metal, obviously.
Yeah.
So 80s. I mean, that's what we generally talk about the most, I think.
Yeah. In early 90s.
So and anything you want to touch on the 80s, which we will touch on that probably a little bit later, but
it's
just
so
real
big.
Quick, it is. In the story of heavy metal.
Yeah.
It's the golden era of a lot of subgenres.
Yeah, because like in the thrash market, the Metallica,
Big Four,
Quiet Riot with that sleaze hair.
The real early feel of hair metal, and just that type of the glammy a little bit, mainstream. What kind of went mainstream, if you will. Quiet Riot.
Yeah, Quiet Riot. That opened up the door for almost everybody in the Sunset Strip, That's from the Crew to Rat.
James. It's just those kind of bands, and a lot of people of the thrash, like even like Lars and everything, get jealous of that. But I mean,
but the thrash has its day in the sun too.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh,
it does. And they went out and sold platinum albums.
Oh my gosh.
Megadeth and Metallica mainly. A lot of the other guys went gold. But I mean, still, there's nothing to shake a stick at.
Anthrax.
Yeah.
Overkill.
Yeah. Gold City. It's just Testament.
Testament.
Oh, God.
We can't forget the
Sacrament.
Exodus,
Oh, yeah.
Sacrament.
Yeah.
Dude.
I like breaking
Sacrament guy reached out to me after we were talking.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
He sent me another thing he was doing, which
Testimony of Apocalypse.
Because I saw Sacrament. Now we're getting off topic for a second in like those early days, and it was an amazing show.
That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, we're here in the 80s, and then now in the 90s is when things get strange. Not just in metal per se, but just the mainstream of it is when metal died in the mainstream is the 90s after grunge. And I guess you could maybe say new metal or butt rock. I don't know what you would say.
What's
Nick.
Butt rock again?
Well, because I don't like to use that term, but like whenever
funny,
Nickelback and
is that Butt rock?
Yeah, Nickelback and Creed.
Maybe I did talk about this with somebody before.
Yeah, so like I don't know what else you would call that.
I like they call it butt rock.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mean no offense by it because I don't have nothing really against that subgenre. Now, if it's grunge, I would rather call it grunge at butt rock, but I don't know. It's
because there's like radio rock.
I guess
that's more radio rock,
just
right?
new balls to it, maybe. I don't know.
I didn't say butt rock. It's just radio rock, pretty much.
Okay, all right.
Is that Fuels and stuff like that?
I would say Bushes.
I just think that's Creeds, Bushes. That's radio rock.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I guess butt rock's funny.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
it made me laugh.
So now we're in the 90s, though. It's a different time. You have death metal starting to become a thing.
Yeah, dude, we had Cannibal Corpses in those albums in 91, 92.
Right.
There was a lot of Deicide. All those types of Florida death metal bands were doing some stuff.
Yeah. And then you had the black metal thing going on in Europe. Pretty heavy going on in the 90s.
When did Cradle of Filth start?
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Early mid-90s, I believe.
There's Carcass was big and overseas, but I remember like gravitating to Carcass and stuff like that as well,
So yeah, you had those two subgenres. You had grunge going on. You had even a resurgence of punk too at that point. I mean, there was a couple other things going on, new metal later in the decade, and then you also had other things, rap. You also had like Backstreet Boys, like that boy band stuff going on in the later 90s. So it was very weird in music in general,
right?
Not just metal. But anything you want to touch on in the 90s real quick?
I remember like hearing Nirvana for the first time, and I was like, these nerds. Who are these nerds?
Did it ever click with you?
It clicked with me. It clicked with me because I loved how thick their guitar sound. Alice in Chains clicked with me.
Well, and to me,
does that count? That's kind of like Alice in Chains kicked my ass.
I like Alice in Chains, but I don't necessarily consider them grunge.
Not really,
especially the first album or two.
They're kind of they got lopped into that.
Yeah.
I definitely got into Soundgarden. I definitely got into Alice in Chains. I do like Nirvana. Eventually, would respect them for what they've done, and a lot of I have their records, and they deserve to be where they're at. I did like how heavy the guitar sound with what they were doing, but at the time I was like, "Look at these nerds." I was just got down jamming to Uncle Tom's Cabin
or Queensryche.
Queensryche, and this.
These guys aren't even happy to be here.
It took my school by storm.
I could believe it.
But I wasn't really. It's funny because I was listening to Cannibal Corpse or Carcass or Danzig, and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. I didn't really lock myself. I didn't care for Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
I didn't really care for Nirvana at the time. But now I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Nirvana. I kind of liked them back then. I wasn't a super fan.
You didn't rush out to buy the albums or anything, really.
But what made me end up getting it was that "Come As You Are" song. I did like that a lot. That had a mood to it. But Alice in Chains, Soundgarden were my two favorites of that time period. But I was also listening to Danzig records.
Yeah, well,
also listening to Misfits albums,
Ministry.
Well,
I did forget about Industrial as a subgenre.
Industrial, I was listening to Nine Inch Nails.
I
was listening to all those type of bands. But a lot of it too was the Cannibal Corpses, the Deicides, the Carcasses, the all those kind of records. Mr. Bungle. No more.
So the 90s was certainly a strange time, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You wouldn't want to revisit the 90s though, as far as metal
I do like
goes.
92 a lot.
What? No, I do too. I do too. But as a whole, like, would that be one of the decades that you wouldn't go back to if you had a choice?
For me, that age, 92 was important.
Okay.
So I'll go back to 92 anytime day of the week,
all right.
because we talked about Bride in another show. Snakes, that album was out. Faith No More's Angel Dust was out. Living Color Stain album was out. What year was Dog Eat Dog?
92.
See,
yeah,
those are two.
Okay,
all those records are special to me in some way. So I would go back to that, but put me in the 80s any day of the damn week.
Okay, yeah, you'll be just fine. Yeah,
yeah. There's nothing wrong with
Okay, so 90s,
even the 70s, man.
Right? Yeah,
I mean, I would choose 80s first of all.
Same here. Yeah, I think for me, I would say 89 to 92. I think I would be. I would be the happiest.
Go 88, and then you have me.
Okay.
88, because then we have Mind Crime.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. So we talked a little bit here about 90s. Now let's go to 2000s to present. Anything you really want to? Because now we're starting to get into bands like, I guess you would say, modern metal.
Right.
Even progressive from the 90s is starting to become a thing now.
Yeah. Maybe Dream Theaters and
it seems the past 10, 20 years, progressive seems to be the thing. I would say symphonic metal.
There's a lot of that. That's Nightwish.
Yes.
Bands like that. Lacuna Coil was big on me because that gave me the idea to do Seraphim with Rach and stuff like that. But a lot of
once again with the last 20 years.
The last 20 years, I would jump to my guns. Like if my favorite artists were doing projects, I would immediately go to them. Like Patton would do Tomahawk or Phantomos, or Tourniquet records would be coming out in 2000 that were very interesting to me. Bride would have albums in 2000 that were very interesting to me. So I wasn't very into the Saliva thing. I wasn't into
Disturbed and
Disturbed I was.
Okay.
I actually at first Disturbed grabbed me and took me somewhere.
Okay.
At the time he reminded me of somebody else that I liked a lot, but in a new metal sense. So I went with it. And I went with it for like the first 3 albums, and I took a long break. Now I started to creep back into it again because John Moyer, the bass player, is friends with Geoff Tate, and he hangs out a lot.
Okay.
And they do a lot of. John Moyer has worked on Jeff's albums, so it makes me go back and check out some other stuff. John Moyer Disturbed records, So
Nice.
So I give them a slide.
Okay.
But I didn't care for Seether. Didn't care for any of that.
Theory of a Dead Man.
No,
type stuff.
not my thing, man.
Okay. I guess Alter Bridge.
No.
Yeah.
Even though Miles Kennedy becomes a Superman, that first album with him, I was like, that's not you. They must have realized that too, because later albums they let him loose or he does the thing, because Miles Kennedy and Slash, heck yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Miles Kennedy, Alter Bridge, the first album, not so much. I will give the other albums maybe a check, but you got Creed guys in there. I can't do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Miles Kennedy kind of cancels it out. So especially when he's himself, it feels like he was trying to do whatever the radio record companies wanted when Alter Bridge first came out. Because when people were saying Alter Bridge is awesome, I'm like, no way, they're not. Then I went back and listened to later Alter Bridge, like, okay, well then he's doing his thing now.
Yeah.
So that's why
sounds more natural.
Yeah, it's better,
Okay.
So it's like they had him on a leash, like, no.
Yeah. Kind of like how I think Judas Priest had Tim Ripper on a leash on Juggulator. I think he doesn't sound like he could have done way more, I think.
Why would they do that to him though? I think Burn in Hell is an awesome song.
I love the Ripper era.
Now check this out. It's 2004. You're in a strip bar with whiskey, and you're with your guitar player who you've been in with bands, you're out there trying to discover what the heck you're trying to do. All of a sudden this woman dances and the song plays. Bam, 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 bam. So you're drunk, whiskey drunk, and you're hearing Judas Priest Burn in Hell. The energy. Visual
that works, just huh?
Bam.
Okay.
So
hey, now you speak my language here.
Next time I listen to that, I'm gonna think of it. Next time I listen.
But you gotta have a whiskey drunk on,
and
you got it in a fun environment with lights, and a really good sound system. Because like when he belts out it's a whole different universe listening to it on your mom, like a little radio player.
Okay.
You need to listen to Juggulator on a monster system.
Yeah,
you know?
okay, that makes total sense. I can see.
However, I thought he sounded. I'm a big Ripper Owens fan.
Mhm.
Once again, he's worked with Geoff on a project on a song called "Taking Over." Oh man, it's Geoff, Ripper, and Blaze Bailey on one song.
Oh my
together.
God, you had me at Blaze Bailey.
Yeah,
Man. Like Blaze Bailey.
Yeah.
He's my man.
I met that wild man.
Did you?
He's wild.
Son of a
He's
bitch.
a character.
I bet.
Oh, what I have a picture of him. I have to send it
Really?
to you.
Was that on your most recent trip? Or
No.
Okay,
This is
right.
when when Ripper and Blaze and Geoff played together.
Okay, all right.
They did a song off one of the key, my Operation Mindcrime, the key, taking the world over. I'm taking over the world. Man, I'm having. Anyways, there's a video for it.
Okay.
They're all three in the video.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
send you the pictures so you can pop that up.
Yeah, yeah, do that,
He's
do
just
that.
like crazy looking at his
Yeah. I love Blaze.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, going back to Ripper, I like him a lot. I can't diss on that
Yeah,
guy.
no,
I
oh
won't
my
diss on
God.
that guy.
He was the perfect replacement.
Yeah.
He was the perfect
But you
replacement.
think you think they were holding him back?
On Jugular.
Okay.
I think he's more himself on Demolition.
Yeah, Demolition. Which
And,
is a good record.
I do.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
found that recently, a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, and I'm not gonna give it away because I wanted to make a video on it.
Okay.
But no, I do like Demolition a lot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean,
we also have because you're talking about in that era.
yeah.
Like when did Ice to Earth come into the picture?
Early '90s, mid '90s.
Okay,
with like the Dark Saga.
Yeah, they
even.
went through the 2000s though, right?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
those are strong.
Oh yeah,
records.
with Ripper on it.
With Ripper.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was thinking off the top.
Okay, all right.
Well, I was listening to in the early 2000s because I wasn't going to the radio side of the stuff. I couldn't do it.
No,
you know,
no.
and I would listen to Queensrÿche in the 2000s. I just radio didn't do it for me.
No, I brought that up too. That's one of the things. So, all right, while we're bringing that up, we talked a little bit about the decades of heavy metal. Now the scene, okay. Now this is where, since you brought up radio, we can talk about that first. What do you think? Because we are in a very life support scene in America, anyway. In
Yeah.
America, and what do you think the issue is with heavy metal as far as a scene?
I don't think
What do
this-
you see it?
I don't think this country ever understood it.
Mhm.
Like and I don't mean like country as in the everyday man that listens to metal. I'm talking about the establishments,
Okay.
every time you saw a award show going all the way back to whenever, they never understood metal. They don't even I don't think, I hate to say it, I don't think the award shows around in our areas,
Yeah. Okay.
all over that have award shows understand the metal category.
Mhm.
They overlook so many. I'm talking about organic, real thing. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not talking about.
That's a good answer. That's an answer I
popular-
didn't think about.
I don't know what. I don't like when I think money has been thrown into it to get somebody the popular vote. I'm sorry if this offends a lot of bands out there, but if you're paying for your success, you're hurting yourself.
That's yeah.
If you're rich, cool, but it's not real.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it's not real. Wrath for 14 years has played everywhere and not spend money playing places to
Mhm.
try to be, look at me. I'm sorry. I hang out with a lot of professional musicians that don't act like that.
Right.
There's people, somebody told me best, local bands will act like big shots until they make it, because then they can't do that. A
Yeah.
certain person we both know told me that. You can act like a big shot in your small town, but you're nobody out in Albuquerque. You might
Yeah.
have streams, but nobody knows who you are in Washington State.
Yeah.
You might be lucky, you might not. People might know you, but you act like an ass clown in the environment. And I noticed bands that do that.
Mhm.
And I try to be respectful. I try to support everybody, but I
Mhm.
hate ego. I can't stand ego. It runs everything.
Yes,
If
it
you're
does.
paying for your success, you're hurting yourself.
Mhm.
And that's the way you think you're going to do it, then fine, do it the way you think you're going to do it. But it's false.
It is.
You're not doing it organically.
100%. And that's
I'm probably going to piss a lot of people
Well-
off, but then you're the problem, dude, because I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I didn't have to pay nothing. I'm not out there to try to be Van Halen either. I'm not trying to be a rich guy.
and that
it's
dream,
impossible.
yeah, that dream's over.
That dream's over.
Yeah.
You might as well just try to do it organically and respect each other.
Yeah.
And it comes down to respect each other as musicians. There's bands out there that try to act like they're the shit and they piss all over their band members. Well, guess what? You get outlet eventually. You can't just act like a dickhead
Mhm.
and then expect you to be untouchable. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
I'm sorry.
Mm.
That's a rude awakening for another band out there.
Yeah.
The band that came off of that or formed another band, high five to them,
Mhm.
you know, because they're going to do it with grace.
Yeah.
They see what ugly looks like. And there's a lot of dumb ugly out there. There's no reason for it. Now, flip side of the coin, there are a lot of bands that are brotherhood. There's a brotherhood out there.
Yeah.
Wrath and Gallaglass, we're a brotherhood. Don't mess with that. We'll
Yep.
mess you up. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Burn the Martyr, those type of bands.
Well,
I will say shout out to Positive. I ain't gonna like blast
Yeah,
nobody. But
okay.
Positive, I'll shout out. You know.
that seems to be.
The spell books.
Yeah,
Wrath,
yeah.
another team.
Yep. Images
Images
of
of
Eden,
Eden.
yeah.
Wrath.
Yeah.
Images of Eden is a great ally.
Yeah,
You know?
yep.
So
and that's why I think the way the scene of metal
I get
right
fired
now,
up.
I think that's why the scene of metal now, it does feel like that, but you
Yeah.
do have your people that do think they're bigger. And to your point of when you go outside of your state, you're going to have 10 people at your show if
Yeah.
you're lucky, you know, because like I've seen way too many shows of bands that are great, new bands that are original that are great. I love them, but they're out of their state and they come here and there's only 10 people. And it's like, what the fuck, you
Right.
know?
I
And
try to support as much as I can. Wrath is
Yes.
a band that goes out and supports other bands
Mhm.
until I smell fish. And I mean that like a foul, gross.
Yeah.
Like you think you're better than
You're an
everybody
asshole.
because you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
what everybody you do. You're doing it's oversaturation. It's oversaturation. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Being so oversaturated is I'm glad everybody's doing music. Do it with grace.
Mhm.
Just because you think you're the big shot, there's 50 million other bands out there doing what you're doing and probably not acting like an asshat, you know?
Yeah. And they're, especially in this day and age with the technology,
Yeah.
anyone can make a band now. Anyone can make a band, but it's harder for the cream to rise to the top
Yeah.
now. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I think you hit the nail on the head with that with a pile driver. But like I'm nobody special. You know, I did
Right,
some
yeah.
I did a lot of cool stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Wrath is a band who has gone to places where we only played for a handful, but we act like it's 1,000.
Yeah.
But we also have been to places out of our states and play for a lot of people.
Mhm.
New Orleans, Middletown, New York has been a second home. I got Spellbook on the radar to go check out that scene, man.
Okay.
And they did, and they're glad they did.
Yeah.
I'll help bands out that I know that are organic and that are brotherhood and not trying to be something that they're not. When I say
A money grab.
something that they're not is like acting like you're a fucking rock star,
Mhm.
and that's a term that I hate. And a lot of people in the establishment that are legends hate that term as well.
Okay.
So every time I see rock star, I cringe. I cringe on that. It's maybe it's my punk rock attitude, but I'm not the only person who thinks that. You know, that term is a nerd term. You know?
Okay.
Well, every time I say, "Oh, rock," I'm like, "No, shut up. You work you don't have a yacht. You work
Right.
you work 7 days. You work 5 days a week, probably. You know." I think getting off topic, but being as a scene, I know it also causes a visual because when you pay money, it
Mhm.
makes you look bigger because you're paying it.
Yeah.
And then maybe it does bring people up, but no, it doesn't.
That doesn't create the diehard
No,
fan that
it
you
doesn't.
need to survive.
I've seen these certain bands who have a big number online still playing for nobody.
Yeah.
So what are you paying for?
Right.
What are you paying for?
There's a
You're not
couple
gonna
bands I
be-
can
you're not
think
gonna
of.
be- You're not gonna be the next Seether.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my.
You're not gonna be the next
Alter Bridge.
Alter
Yeah.
Bridge. You're not gonna be the next
Nickelback.
if you're doing it for real. If you're okay, I'll give it to this. If you're doing it with your heart and you want to spend money to do it because you believe in your heart and it's not an ego thing,
Mhm.
then hats off to you. But it's 9 out of 10 times the ego thing. you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
And
I'm with
you
it.
don't impress me with that
Mhm.
crap, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm as far as a heartfelt listener, I listen to good songs that make me feel something. I might like a song you might hate.
Yeah.
But it made me
Yeah.
feel something. You
Yeah.
know, I will never bash a person for writing and going out there and doing this because it's hard. But I will
Same.
bash you if you act like an asshat.
Yeah.
In which, come on, you're in York County, Lancaster, Harris. Shut up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I will never talk shit on anyone that's doing their thing.
No.
You know, I will. You do you.
I'm the biggest supporter unless you act like an idiot.
Yeah. Yep. Until you give a reason to give
And
you
I
shit.
wonder if that is part of the situation with hurting scene. Yeah,
That's certainly some of it because I think
some of it, because
yeah.
you pay to play, but you're not bringing anybody out because you just paid for all those tickets.
And now the establishment or the bar,
They got
the
their money.
venue,
They
yeah.
got their money, but they
And now they're getting used to that they got this much money off
Yeah.
of doing it this way. You know, the pay for play thing is not correct.
It's like what Ozzy said: if Black Sabbath had to pay to play with we're like fucking Birmingham.
Yeah. That wouldn't have worked out too well back in the day.
No,
Oh God, yeah. So okay, that
it's a
I agree.
California thing, man.
I agree that there is something to that hurts the scene.
Yeah.
Does the radio the last 30 years hurt the scene?
I haven't listened to the radio much.
Well, that's telling you something then.
Because
it ain't worth listening to.
Yeah, well, it's because a lot of the radio plays a lot of the same stuff that was 30 years ago as well. You get your news stuff, but it's like, is that really what I want? I listen to satellite if I listen to radio because at least it's a like say Hair Nation. At least it's in that genre, but they have a habit of repeating.
Yes,
there's more. There's more than that.
They only know Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, Rat, Bon Jovi, and Poison. That's the only
occasionally they'll
they
play off tracks. Like, come on, dude, there's a whole universe, dude. I heard Tora finally on there.
Did you? Hey, it only took you 5 months. You know?
Yeah. I think people need to start getting into it. We're going back to the award ceremony, which started my rant. Anyways.
Okay, yeah.
They never understood metal. Why did Jethro Tull win Best Metal back in when Metallica was out there?
Yeah. Why are non-rock and metal bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Right.
You know, it's weird shit. Weird shit going on. And,
I mean,
but I like your thought process.
I guess Rock and Roll Hall of Fame could be generalized as like music. But shouldn't it be the Music Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess rock and roll is just whatever. When it comes to the metal category, nobody does it, right? Ever.
No.
Even in this town.
Yes. Yeah, I agree that I'm with you because I didn't think of this
like metal
point.
If I had a metal category, I have Sadistic Vision on there. I would have Burn the Martyrs on there. I would have Gallows Glasses on there. Even Wrath. These are metal bands, not bands that. I don't know. It's some of the choices are just because the genre label.
Okay.
It doesn't. They're not matching up.
Right. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with notoriety or what you're a good band, but you're not metal. But why are you in the metal category?
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Even with the punk, I don't know if they understand punk either. So
I would if they don't understand metal, they're
I'm
not
talking about
understand
across
punk.
the globe.
Yeah.
They always get rap right, pretty much, and hip hop right.
Okay.
And it seemed like they get that. No problem there, but when it comes to metal, that whole universe.
Yeah.
And then they get like Jethro Tull.
I know. That is ridiculous.
It's not metal. But.
Now, okay, so when metal was in its golden era, 80s, early 90s, was the factor of radio and MTV, did that really kind of set the stage to have a whole other side of the population into this specific genre? Like women were in the hair metal genre. They loved it. They didn't care for thrash. Sure, some did, but that wasn't the thing. That hair metal is what that's why it got so big, because you added more than just a couple guys,
because
to the audience.
I remember somebody telling me a long time ago, if the girls come, so will the boys.
Yeah.
And I think, man, 80s was such an interesting time just because we didn't have social media and it was in your face. Like, you got commercials on TV. Everything was just so different. Magazines.
Radio.
It could be on a normal TV show and then like the new album from Guns N' Roses on a normal TV, like ABC or something like that.
Yeah.
You would wait. I remember lines outside for Metallica albums or Guns N' Roses.
Use Your Illusion, probably. Yeah.
Lines. And I'm like, that's like Batman. Everything was in excess or whatever, excessive.
Okay.
In the 80s, over the top, big, loud, in your face. no holds bar, no crying in baseball type thing, no whining over this or that.
Yeah.
And it's just that I felt like these days, I don't know, I would never want to be a kid in this era because your face is stuck in a phone or something like that. Or I'm not saying everybody, but there's there's people that just where's your personality at?
You're right, right.
And that it's like, man, we grew up in the 80s. You didn't have a phone to stick your face into. You had video game systems, but but everything was in your face, even without social media. In your face. Music was Quiet Riot was on the radio.
Yeah.
Motley Crue was on the radio. Rat was they're all on the radio. So that might be. You're right.
That leads to the other question, then too here for kids today, or for the last 20 years, I would say.
I do admire the kids who get into this.
Yeah, because there's no gold at the end of the rainbow.
There are kids that are into this. I'm like, how did you do that? Oh my parents. Yeah, good job, parents.
Yeah,
yeah. You know what I mean?
Because I would say my age and younger.
Yeah,
there's way too much entertainment out there to be into live music or just music. We're all in the music no matter what, but like just as like a scene though,
right?
Like there's way too much entertainment to go out every weekend to a bar or a venue to listen to your band or to listen to a band. I think that certainly hurts, and that from the end of the 90s, I think that really started to change then. So I don't know. Do you think there's any truth to that? That's kind of coming on this side of the angle here. We're coming at all angles on why this scene is struggling.
Like oversaturation. There's a lot going on. And I don't know if the way that our lives are economically,
that doesn't help.
It doesn't help. Things being more expensive doesn't help either.
Yeah.
Because back then you could buy a ticket for like $10 to see Quiet Riot.
An original big band. Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore.
Well, and like I told you earlier, we just went to go see Warrant, Nelson, Firehouse, and Lita Ford. And that had to have been one of the most disappointing shows that I've ever been at.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry to hear that.
And what one of my buddies spent was over $100 for ticket, for beer, and he didn't even buy new merch either.
What?
If he would have bought merch, that was $50 a shirt.
See, that's another thing. I know people buy that's a concert. You see people buying shirts all the time, but there's a lot of tape there. Why that is, Some say the venues are charging, and it's like greed. It seems like a lot greedier.
That's what kills a scene too.
Yeah,
that kills a scene.
Which goes with the money thing again. You're killing a scene with money. What did I say earlier about bands doing that? Yeah, it's like okay, you want to make some dollars, but be honest, man. Yeah, with trying to make it in a band, it's like you have a better chance being an NFL player
or winning the lottery.
Yeah, like Hellstorm, she won the lottery because there's a lot of people that are talented like her that don't ever get discovered.
Yeah,
I bet she had a good parents. I think.
Yeah,
I believe they backed her.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that. Plus, she is a powerhouse. I love women rockers. And I love women to rock, and more power to that. Like that's very hard to do what they did. Like she's larger than life.
Yeah,
she's hanging out with Skid Row for crying out loud.
Yeah,
bravo, by the way.
Yeah, very cool.
And like John Bon Jovi knows her by name. Like, dude, that's amazing to me. I think Hellstorm's is even like bigger than live is pretty big, but I think she's going to be superstar compared to them.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. The
way she's going, and she seems like she's got a good heart. She used to run around the red line.
Yeah. She goes down to Tom's Music Trade.
Yeah.
Like
I remember them in the bar scene back then.
Okay, cool.
That's very rare to do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these people, especially with the ones with ego, think they're going to get there. And if you're not in the dumps, playing in dumps and stuff, first, it's very slim chance. Yeah,
very slim chance. But that reminds me that when you brought up Hailstorm, as far as the women, now there were some women fronted bands in the 80s, but nothing like it is the last 10, 15 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, but that leads me to this question. Maybe you can answer it because you're more on the women vocal side.
I am.
Bands. I would have thought that since half the new bands that you see now are probably female fronted or a female in the band, and why hasn't that brought out more female audience? Can you say you have seen that?
Well, actually, I have seen it. I went to go see Pretty Reckless, The Warning,
Okay.
Hellstorm, I forget who they opened. All female bands. A lot of
Women?
women presence.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
at that show.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure this out
It
because
is.
there are hits and then there are a lot of misses. So.
Right.
When we get a show, say for Wrath or whatever, Penntera, because Penntera's played in front of full houses, and we have played, when we played for nobody, it's because the promotion wasn't there. Nobody didn't talk about it. Nobody didn't push it.
Yeah.
So laziness also kills that.
Okay.
So if nobody's working together on something, then don't expect anybody to be there.
Don't expect greatness.
Or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see things promoted, sometimes you don't get people either. So it's a crapshoot sometimes.
It is.
But it depends. But if you get but I notice if you get good team up of bands together, back each other. For example, with Penntera, we play with Eyes of the Nile.
Okay.
Always. Tally Ho, crowd.
Okay.
We played up somewhere recently, crowd. When we played with Fade to Black down in Soundstage, crowd. I didn't expect that. I thought there was going to be. We're in Baltimore. Nobody's going to be here.
Yeah.
The place was
really
packed,
okay.
There's been shows with Wrath where I didn't expect anybody to be there. All of a sudden, it's a ton of people there. It's both ways. We play for bands, watching bands.
Yeah.
And we play for a lot of people.
Okay.
It's up and down. But once we don't sell our soul to do it, though. We have not. Maybe once or twice we paid to play, and that's and we did what we're supposed to do, but we're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I mean, those were good shows, but we found ways. There's good allies out there. Frank Phobia is one of the best allies in our area from Anthrophobia. Everybody needs a Frank. That's what the local H singer said. Everybody needs a Frank, and I agree with that. One of the best out there, and he does it organically. He does it from the heart. He does it for real. He's seen the ugly side of everything. So there's good people out there.
Okay.
But I think it's just a crapshoot. Skid Row Garage has been a great place for all age.
Right.
All age is an important thing. If we have more all age shows, that brings kids out. We played with Cancer Slugs at Skid Row Garage, packed house.
Okay.
We were direct support, and it was a packed house.
Okay.
So I think
that's a good point.
We need to get back to the all ages.
Okay.
The adults. There's some bands I seen up in HMAC, some big band shows on weeknights. Not what you think.
Yeah. Weeknights are horrible.
Yeah.
Especially for adults.
I bet if it was all age show.
Certainly.
I think we need to get back to all age shows.
That's
a lot more
point.
of that.
That's
because Skid Row is now they get their nights where there's nobody there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, not nobody there. There's a handful of people. There's always going to be a handful of people there. There's all ages,
Right.
But then but that's just it's a crapshoot to explain what makes it work, what makes it don't work. So sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work.
I like the all ages idea there too. Yeah. I didn't think about that for the live scene, which I think.
Well, he's like, we went to just saw I Hate God on a weeknight Thursday and packed.
Really?
Yeah. So, with they had No Mas, which is on tour. I'm a friend in that band. I just found out. And then Harrisburg's Symptoms, which is a friend. Mitch, it's a good friend of mine. He fronts that band. That place is packed. Okay. That was a Thursday. So it's all ages. It seems to be the locations easy for people too. Maybe that's the thing, But having love drafts, like in our part of the world, love drafts and all that stuff. I love that we have all these choices.
I know.
So I don't know. And which then that leads to me. Well, you have all these choices. Now you have shows. All the time pulling people left and right.
That's the other problem.
Thing,
that's the other. I take notice of that with a lot of the local clubs. Just in York in general. They have the same type of show style of music on the same night.
Right.
Come on. Now something has to be tried there with that.
Well,
with how much it happens. With how much it happens.
It's hard to do that because you plan this stuff out months.
Right.
Sometimes.
Now I know it does happen. does happen, but sometimes it seems a
Yeah.
little too much to be coincidence.
It's good to have choices, right? But it kind of hurts you gotta maybe there's a way to once again team up and figure that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be kind of hard to try to figure that one out.
I didn't think about the all ages though, but obviously the only thing I would think of that would probably why you don't see that is because of club owners want to sell alcohol for money. Now we're going back to the money issue again. So
what's a good thing about Heiser and Skid Row? He's always been a DIY guy because he used to do that out of a garage, literally out of the garage of his home.
Nice.
He wanted a place for young people to go to see bands, and stay out of trouble. Maybe,
good.
I know Heiser for almost probably since 1997, 98. And he's always had that, hey, music's important.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I grew up in the scene. I want to provide, and when they got shut down, he found an opportunity to get a building. And I'm glad he did because now you're getting I Hate God in there and stuff like that. That's a big old New Orleans band,
Right. Yeah.
with ties to all kinds of other
You're getting variety now.
Variety. And all ages.
Okay.
Having places. But you know what's cool about Skid Row? In the back, there's a bar.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
there's a bar in the back for the adults. 21 up.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. So you can separate, but the way his building's laid out, it's easy to keep the minors up where they're supposed to be. And
Okay.
where,
Well, we've solved that problem right
Yeah.
there. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now, why doesn't more places?
I don't know. I guess maybe there's insurance, or maybe because it's a bar.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
we're here to sell drinks. We don't.
I think Love Draft has all 8 shows though, don't they?
Sometimes I think they do. Yeah. Okay. I think you're right. I do remember seeing that
because they do well with their big acts most of the time. I think
yeah, I mean,
it also depends on location. Maybe I don't know. There's all these factors that make up why. Because lately, the last couple shows I've been going to have been like numbers.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's up and down.
Good. All right.
It's been a while since I've been to a show where there's nobody there.
Okay. All right. Good then.
Like I went on a Sunday night to Skid Row to meet up with a friend from New York to see a band 9 Dead, and there's a band called Slamwich, and there's a lot of people there for that.
Okay.
It was on a Sunday.
All right. Cool.
A decent amount, at least.
Cool then. Yeah.
For some female fronted slam metal,
All right, good deal. So there's some positiveness right there.
I guess I'm the wrong person to ask, but I do realize
that there's some problem going on here.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so we kind of talked a little bit about that. Now the next 10 years, because that's kind of like where I ended my video.
Okay.
Like what the next 10 years will look like.
Right.
Because if you would ask me that 15 years ago when I was 14 or 15, I'm still optimistic.
Yeah.
But I would have been even more optimistic because you had like a second wave of hair metal at that time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this shit's coming back, and all that shit. And traditional metal had a resurgence as well. So, but where is the influence today for bands 10 years from now? Like 10 years from now, will there be kids saying, hey, I want to be, I know we kind of don't want to use the word rock star, but you do need to have that dream though.
You can use it.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
What does the next 10 years look like?
I just don't know if it's very rare to be a Hellstorm.
Yeah. But everyone.
I use them because they're from our town.
Yeah.
And they did
make it
big time.
Yeah.
And she's jamming with Skid Row right now.
Right. But every
but
kid
it's very hard
has
to do
that dream.
I don't say don't do it.
Yeah.
But I also seen heroes of mine say find something else to do.
Yes. Yeah.
I had heroes of mine saying that for new bands. Now I'm not new to this. So
yeah.
I've been
but I'm with you because every kid does have that dream though to be a rock star. But
I wonder if what the new kid does have the dream up,
what makes them
because
hey, I want to make music.
Maybe they want to be, if they go the pop route, maybe they have a better shot at it, because I notice these hip hop guys blow up pretty fast, but then it's like a 1 song thing and that's it, or anything of that nature.
But just like in every scene, it's
hard to be an Eminem too,
it's gonna end though at some point, as an actual scene. you know?
Yeah, I've seen ebbs and flows. I guess that's the word to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Of scene because when I finally was doing a scene here around mid '90s, it was flourishing.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I feel echoes of it coming back with the way, for example, Heiser has done with Skid Row. I see same energy with these youngsters.
Good.
A place to go, a place to be themselves, a place where they feel kind of included and all right, and the music that's helping them along. That's not that much different from our generation stuff. They just got more piled on to it. A lot more this ways and that ways and ups and downs and lefts and rights than we had because of social media and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, social media is a double-edged sword.
It is.
You can find on a moment's notice what you want to listen to, which has always been cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, imagine you have a record store in your room right now.
Yeah. Right.
But at the same time, it's not helping these bands pennies, fractions and fractions and fractions of the pennies. When then the band's got to go tour, then if they're not bringing anybody out, and then now their merch has to cost a lot because they have to cover for the arena
expenses
and stuff like that. It's like it's not easy. And these people that think they're just going to go out there and make millions of dollars. Ooh.
You're going to lose millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You're not going to make millions of dollars.
Like Blink-182, not Blink-182, No Effects back in the day. Well, we did our tour, and No Effects is well known in their department. Well, we broke even on this tour.
Yeah.
Broke even.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy when you think of it when that happens.
It's like, I don't know. Like to make what is it to make it anymore?
The definition has totally changed the last 20 years.
I would jokes like if you have 7 yachts and several homes, then I think you're safe. I used to joke with my drummer like you got to get a yacht before you become that.
Yeah.
And I start joking with bands like, oh, you don't got no yacht.
Yeah. I think only Metallica and Van Halen has yachts now.
Yeah, but probably Megadeth. Too,
yeah. Even Dave's lucky if he has that.
Well, Dave Mustaine has dental plan for his band members. I'm sure
That's true. Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I wanted to ask you the question. What is heavy metal? And obviously, you do talk about a scene because certainly a scene
does makes it really good.
Yeah, it makes it attractive.
I've seen good scenes, and then I've seen not so good scenes, know. And then I've seen scenes that were caught in the California trap, which is what it was there in like mid 2000s, where bands had to pay to play some show in the middle of York. It's like that. I left California because pay to play was a problem out there.
Right.
Like you want to play the whiskey or anything. I played the whiskey a couple times. But it's a pay to play place.
Yeah.
I also played other places you didn't have to, play the what is that? The Club Lingerie where Mr. Bungle played.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have to pay to play for there, but that was a legendary place, I was like, Mr. Bungle played here, man. I played in Green Jello's Palace. So when he had like a whole place where a venue and a place where people can do circus acts training. Like that. So, I did a lot of cool things, but I'm not out here trying to be something I'm not, be something you're not. Yeah. So the next 10 years, I still think in my heart that kids will still know who Sabbath is. Right. Led Zeppelin and Priest, Iron Maiden.
The gods.
Yeah. And I still believe that they're going to get inspired by that. Metallica even, and stuff like that. Yeah. Especially Fortnite, the game. Metallica's all over that right now. Yeah. There's a lot of kids on there. A lot of little kids are going to know who Metallica is because of that.
Same with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And the Peacemaker for like the sleazier hair metal stuff.
Then once again, it's a rare moment where like that band is struck gold.
Multiple times.
Yeah. But as far as it's hard to say. I don't know what the teenager is going to bring. It might get better, it might get worse. But I don't think nothing's going to change with how bands get paid. It probably might get worse, because it seems like the greed is killing it. With like, I don't think fans want to charge their fans $60 a shirt. I think they have to cover something there,
right?
I don't think that's necessarily the band's idea to sell that much. I think the establishments put their stamp on that. Like, well, we need this much. So, right. That doesn't give us,
Right. Now, since I do have actually bonus questions, because you're a special person that can answer this on both sides of the fence.
Special.
Now, with you being in or were in a tribute band and an original band that has released a couple albums
And a
such.
band that was on the big side of things.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
can you explain to me and everyone else, because I see that this is a big topic, it seems, here recently. People are getting the shits of cover bands, what the money that they're getting, the crowd that they're getting. Tribute bands to an extent, because a lot of people that love cover bands don't like tribute bands because they only know 2 songs by that band, or one. So a tribute band doesn't do nothing for them. So, and then obviously, like what we talked about, original bands now pull 10 people, just pull lackluster numbers. Can you kind of, since you were in Penntera, one of the best tribute bands in Pennsylvania, and then you're in a original band as well, can you kind of like tell us what you see on your side between that argument?
It's like two things pulling at you,
Yeah.
I want to ask a question in a way from a fan's point of view.
Okay.
After Penntera show at Soundstage, I had this kid come up to me. He goes, "Thank you so much. You guys are legit sounding. You sound really close to the original, or exactly like the original.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you. I want to give you a hug because I could afford to go to see the real deal."
Mm-hmm.
So there made me open up my eyes a bit on a different point of view of what tribute brings to the audience. Because if they're really good, then I understand why they're getting paid.
Yeah.
Because if you sound legit, then of course you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also helping people that may be less fortunate, that can't shell out a lot of money to go see the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can see something that gives them that feel, which I got so many times from different people, that they are grateful for that, that it doesn't cost a lot to go see a tribute band.
Yeah.
I used to think horrible things too, until I jumped into it. It says it's work too, you can't, it's not just phoning it in. You got to become something else.
Yep.
You got to be something else. Green Arrow. No, but in that point of view, it opened my mind a little bit more, like, well, you know what? I never got to see so-and-so, but this band's bringing me happiness.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it now.
And that's why I always will go see a tribute band. Like, I'll never go see
I heard there's
a
really
band.
cool Depeche Mode one that's out and about. I need to go check it out.
And a Prince Diamond one around here too. Yeah.
Yes.
Where I'm at, because like I touched on this topic a little bit on my pilot episode. Cover bands, no thank you. I'll probably never go see a cover band. Tribute bands, you can get me a tribute band because I appreciate the deep cuts.
Right.
I appreciate them, or you guys trying to look the part and sounding the part.
Look the part, not so much, but
like you're not just 4 random guys that just had their work clothes on. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. I do enjoy tribute bands, because of the price. Like you said, I am not paying, not that I want to go see Motley Crue, but I am not going to pay $100 to go see Motley Crue in this day and age. I'll go see any legit Motley Crue tribute band, have just as much fun.
Right.
You
can, because I've seen Shout at the Devil and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out the Devil. Yep. Very good.
What's the Rat tribute band? I had a lot of fun. I played with them
out of the cellar. Yeah.
I had so much fun with that band. We played with them. Like, man, I could just play all night,
Made in America.
Yeah.
Made in America. Eyes on the Nile.
Eyes on the Nile.
Prince Diamond.
Prince Diamond. You need to get on the circuit, bro.
Yeah, buddy. We need you more than just once a year.
Yeah.
We need you more than just once a year.
Maybe that's the plan. Who knows? Because this is a number 2 for the year for them.
But then again, it is halfway through the year.
So
it probably will only be 2.
Yeah, it might be. It might be a plan. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, maybe. But that's my view on that.
On the original side, I think a lot of the original people, like, we pour heart, our blood, sweat, and tears, writing our own songs and doing all, and getting nothing.
And you're getting pennies.
And pennies. But Rath's been in a weird situation where we got Penntera money before.
Okay.
And then we got okay.
Mm-hmm.
Barely, rarely have we ever got nothing. Okay. There was one show we got $7 to laugh. Dave always gives us an earful. $7? What the heck? You buy a drink, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But we have been paid big before Wrath. We're weird. Wrath's weird band. Like we come out and support you all day. We'll buy your shirts. We'll buy your merch.
Right. Yeah.
We believe in that. I notice, and we know people who don't do that back, and shame on you.
Okay. Yeah. That does suck.
And we play everywhere. We play New Orleans, we play New York, and we just money out of our own pockets, but we get it done. But we don't pay to be there either. So we pay to be there on a different way, naturally, the way the
way that the scene of the last 15-20 years makes it.
I know things are different. I know bands get paid. Like another good example, Small Town Titans. Their online presence is unstoppable. It's phenomenal,
right?
And I know that's another way to get funds in. Their point of view for new bands to not play shows and to be online presence only, it's kind of weird to me because I'm old school.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works. I don't disagree or agree with it. I just think you want to play, go play, because that's an energy, that's a vibe. Get it out. But I don't know. They might not know about Skid Row Garage.
Yeah, kind of.
And they don't play a lot of shows, but they play places. They played Australia, for crying out loud.
Right.
So, but I know their online presence is unstoppable.
Yeah, because
like Will It Riff. Have you seen those?
Yes,
I love those things.
Yeah.
I know Phil before he was in that band, so good dude.
Yeah.
I love his range.
That's kind of bringing up another point of the new how metal is, or how the marketing is now.
Because I think
singles come out now every couple months instead of an album now. And it's like, I want to collect the album or EP. Right. I don't have Spotify. Right. I don't do anything online.
I also see a resurgence of physical love coming back. That's true because too, I have seen people getting tired of not touching it.
Yeah, or seeing it.
It's like I'm buying something, but it's not there. It could be taken away from me at any time if something would happen to that site.
Yeah.
I see cassette tapes at shows now. I see vinyl records and CDs are still there. I don't agree with people say CDs are dead. They're not dead, dude, because people are still buying them because they want the physical. They're not expensive right now, so now's the time to grab, unless it's something crazy.
Yeah.
There are expensive CDs out there, but like cassette tapes are hot again. Now
that really surprises me. The cassettes.
I fell right into it. I'm like, my cassette tapes is flourishing again. And then I noticed I played with a band that had an 8-track for sale.
Really?
Real.
That's awesome.
So the nostalgic part is coming back. So the 10-year thing could be a return.
Yeah.
Or it could go worse.
Maybe we are just in the darkest before the dawn.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you what, I have no problem. I see people buying vinyl at shows all the time, or they're going to Tom's, or they're going to Mothership, or we're going to Extremities, or we're going to Icos, or
an expo, Record Expo.
Record Expo is awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
And that one, it's so good.
I love it.
The one guy's a client that kind of helps run that thing.
Keystone Records.
Gonna be there?
Yeah, Keystone Records. Yeah. It's great up there in Lancaster for their shows.
It's really weird when we discuss the whole thing about where we are as a scene, because lately I've seen good.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives, but
I know what you're talking about, the bad.
The negatives seem to somewhat outweigh it as a whole.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just like, stop being greedy.
That does come down to a lot of things.
And please, seriously, to make a scene strong, like, support each other.
Yeah,
everybody support each other. I do it until I see something dumb.
Right. Yeah.
And there's one band got what they deserved. That was the darlings around here. And the band that rise out of the ashes, good for them.
Good. Yeah, I remember you telling me that story.
Screw that story.
Yeah.
You're gonna act like an asshole, and you're nobody, and you think you're somebody. It's gonna come down on you, and you can act like the victim all you want. But it'll come down on you hard. And as soon as I saw that band hit the scene, I knew something was wrong with it. And I knew exactly. I've been in this. I've done this a long time. I've battled ego people all through my career. You can't bullshit me. There's no way you can.
Yep.
I may act like a clown, jester, idiot, but I'm watching. And that's how I get you, because I'm acting like an idiot, like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I just gave myself up. Now everybody's gonna close off.
Now you got to play stupid.
I'm just gonna call it. I wear my shit on my sleeve.
Right.
I love music because it helps me out, and I love my friends who create it because they're creating ear candy for me.
Oh yeah.
And I tell most of my brethren that I'm tight with, thank you for making music.
It's the soundtrack to your life.
I want good things to happen to my brothers, man.
Yeah.
And the people that are my friends, or they act like my friends because
Mhm.
I want good things to happen to you.
Right, right.
I want good things to happen to everybody,
Mhm.
except for the people that act like asshats.
That
They need to be brought humble pie.
yes, that deserved the karma.
They need a humble pie lesson.
Yeah. Are you gonna give him that pie?
Yeah,
Jason.
if I'm in the mood, there's a other side to me that's crazy too.
I don't know if I ever seen that. I don't really want to see it either. But
Geez.
Jason, my man, anything else that you really want that we didn't really touch on here that you want to?
I know I
touch?
kind of went off on a rampart and got a little meme sounding, but when it comes to it, treat people kindly and
That don't cost nothing. That don't cost nothing.
As promoters, as bands, as musicians, nobody's better than anybody else.
Yep.
Music is subjective.
Mhm.
I might love something you hate, but it doesn't make it suck, you know? That's the true balance of what I'm trying to get at in this whole thing. Keep it pure. I know it's hard to do that because business really messes it up. And I have friends in high places now, heard horror stories, you know? And but stick together, hang out, be friends, don't be fake.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not perfect. I've been caught up with saying blah 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 because I might have been like, what's that term called when you hear something you kind of fly off the handle without thinking?
Yeah.
I might have been in that
reactionary
kind of. Been that, but deep down underneath all that, I care for the music scene. I care for the bands who do it. It's not hard. It's hard to create good songs. It's hard to create.
Yeah.
So I admire everyone who does it. Just keep it real, you know.
It doesn't cost nothing to keep it real. Like you said, to keep it respectful and support each other.
And stop thinking everybody's better than everybody else because we're all in the same freaking pond here. That's what we are. Yeah. Even if you're a big fish in this pond, in the whole grand scheme of it, you're still a tiny little speck.
Yeah. You never know when your last song or your last album will be your last.
Yeah. Even if they do get big, good for you. But keep it real.
Yeah.
Because some of my realest people in the room are the big time guys, and they don't act like that.
Yeah.
And if they don't act like that, and they won Grammys and have done amazing stuff, and made many videos and many records, and you're from a small town, you're acting like you're the shit. Get out of here, dude! Shut the hell up.
Yep.
Piss on your face.
Yes. You'll meet the same people on the way up as you do on the way down,
dude. And like my good friend Gordon says, you might act like a big shot around here, but they won't tolerate that in the big leagues.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100% true. Yeah. Shout out to Gordon.
Shout out to Gordon
and Images.
Man.
But Jason, I think we covered a lot of ground here, my man. All right, guys. Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you think heavy metal is.
Talk to me.
What you think's hurting the scene. Yeah, what you think's hurting the scene. Tell us what we can
do.
Tell us what we can do to fix it. Tell us what we can do to solve the problem here.
Teamwork. Compassion.
You're not wrong.
Realness.
You're not wrong, but
kill the greed.
Jason, my man, thank you for coming on once more. Guys, until next time, that's Jay from Wrath of Typhon and Trevor Krash Knight here. Thank you guys for watching. Stay out of that collateral damage, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.